Have you ever wondered why some moments refuse to disappear from your life? Why a certain thought keeps returning, why a particular feeling follows you through ordinary days, or why a message seems to find you again after you've tried to move on? Maybe it isn't because something magical is forcing its way into your life. Maybe it's because your heart is finally ready to hear something it wasn't ready to hear before. If that's why you're here today, then stay with me until the very end. This isn't about fear. This isn't about pressure. It's about hope, perspective, and the possibility that one encouraging reminder can arrive at exactly the moment you need it. There are seasons when life becomes so loud that encouragement gets buried beneath disappointment. You wake up carrying questions no one else can see. You smile while quietly wondering whether the future will ever look different from today. You keep doing the right things, but the results seem delayed. You pray, you wait, you work, and sometimes you wonder if any of it matters. Yet history is filled with stories of people who discovered that the longest waiting seasons often prepared them for the greatest opportunities. They couldn't see the full picture while they were living through it. Only later did they realize that every delay had shaped them into someone stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. Imagine standing in front of a door that has remained closed for years. At first you knock every day. Then every week. Eventually you stop knocking altogether because you assume it will never open. But what if, during that entire time, another door was quietly being built somewhere you hadn't even thought to look? What if the closed door wasn't punishment at all? What if it was protection? Sometimes we become so focused on what didn't happen that we miss what is gradually becoming possible. Think about how often people judge their lives by what they haven't received instead of what they've already survived. You may not have every answer today, but you're still here. You may not have reached every goal, but you've learned lessons you couldn't have gained any other way. Those lessons become the foundation for tomorrow's confidence. Strength rarely arrives all at once. It grows in small choices made day after day, especially when no one else notices. There are moments when encouragement arrives through unexpected conversations, a verse you've read many times but suddenly understand differently, or a simple reminder that reaches you at exactly the right time. The message itself may not have changed. You changed. Your experiences changed. Your perspective changed. Suddenly words that once seemed ordinary become deeply meaningful because they meet you where you are today. Many people spend years believing they have to earn peace by solving every problem. But peace often begins long before every question is answered. It begins the moment you stop allowing uncertainty to define your identity. Your circumstances may still be developing, yet your outlook can already begin to change. Hope isn't pretending challenges don't exist. Hope is believing those challenges don't have the final word. Maybe you've been comparing your timeline to everyone else's. Social media shows celebrations, promotions, engagements, vacations, achievements, and milestones. Quietly, comparison whispers that you've fallen behind. But comparison rarely tells the whole story. Every person carries battles that aren't visible. Every journey unfolds at a different pace. The measure of your life isn't whether you reached someone else's destination first. It's whether you're becoming the person you're meant to be through your own journey. There is incredible freedom in releasing the need to control every outcome. Preparation matters. Effort matters. Responsibility matters. But there are also moments when you simply keep taking the next faithful step without knowing exactly where the path leads. That's not weakness. That's courage. It takes courage to continue planting seeds before you can see a harvest. It takes courage to keep believing that today's small acts of faithfulness can become tomorrow's unexpected blessings. Think about the people who encouraged you when you felt invisible. Chances are they didn't solve every problem. Often they simply reminded you that your story wasn't over. Those words became a turning point because they helped you see possibility where you had only seen limitation. Encouragement has that kind of power. One sentence can redirect an entire day. One act of kindness can restore someone's confidence. One decision to keep moving forward can change the direction of a life. Perhaps that's the invitation today, not to chase dramatic signs, but to notice the quiet ways hope keeps showing up. It appears in another sunrise after a difficult night. It appears in the strength to begin again after disappointment. It appears in wisdom gained through experience, compassion born from hardship, and gratitude discovered in ordinary moments. You don't have to pretend you've never been discouraged. Honest faith has room for questions, tears, and uncertainty. Throughout history, many people of deep faith wrestled with fear before they found renewed courage. Their struggles didn't disqualify them. Instead, those struggles became part of the story that inspired others. So before you decide that your best days are behind you, consider another possibility. Perhaps this season isn't the end of your story. Perhaps it's the chapter where resilience quietly takes root. Perhaps the lessons you've been gathering are preparing you for responsibilities you couldn't have handled a year ago. Growth often happens so gradually that you don't recognize it until you look back and realize how much you've changed. And here's the thought that many people overlook: sometimes the greatest breakthrough isn't a sudden change in circumstances. Sometimes it's a renewed perspective that allows you to walk through those circumstances with confidence instead of fear. When your perspective changes, your decisions change. When your decisions change, your future often changes with them. So don't rush away just yet. In the next part, we'll explore why certain seasons of waiting can become the very place where purpose becomes clearer, and how small moments of faithfulness often prepare the way for opportunities no one could have predicted. There is a quiet truth that many people discover only after looking back on their lives: the moments that felt like interruptions often became the moments that shaped them the most. While they were living through those seasons, they wished everything would move faster. They wanted immediate answers, immediate breakthroughs, immediate clarity. But when they finally reached the other side, they realized something remarkable had been happening all along. Their character had been growing stronger than they ever imagined. Think about a seed hidden beneath the soil. From the surface, it appears as though nothing is happening. Days pass. Rain falls. The ground remains unchanged to the human eye. Yet underneath, a quiet transformation is taking place. Roots are forming before branches ever appear. The invisible work always comes first. The same can be true in our own lives. There are seasons when progress isn't obvious because the deepest growth happens where no one else can see it. Perhaps you've experienced days when you questioned whether your efforts mattered. You kept showing kindness even when it wasn't returned. You continued working hard even when recognition never came. You stayed faithful to your values while others chose shortcuts. It can feel discouraging when the rewards seem delayed. But lasting success is often built on ordinary moments repeated consistently over time. Imagine someone training for a marathon. Every early morning run feels small compared to the finish line. Yet every mile matters. No single practice creates the victory. It is the accumulation of faithful choices that prepares the runner for the day that everyone else finally notices. People often celebrate the finish line while forgetting the thousands of unseen decisions that made it possible. The same pattern appears throughout life. Opportunities rarely arrive without preparation. Confidence is usually built long before the challenge that requires it. Wisdom develops through experience, reflection, and perseverance. When difficult moments arrive, they often reveal strengths that were quietly developing all along. Maybe you've been asking why certain doors remained closed. It's a natural question. Everyone asks it at some point. Yet consider another possibility. Instead of asking only, "Why didn't this happen?" ask, "What has this season been teaching me?" That simple shift in perspective can change everything. Suddenly, every challenge becomes more than an obstacle. It becomes a classroom. Some lessons teach patience. Others teach humility. Some reveal the importance of healthy relationships. Others remind us to release bitterness before it becomes a burden too heavy to carry. None of these lessons are easy. Yet each one has the potential to prepare us for responsibilities we couldn't have managed before. There is also something powerful about hope that refuses to disappear. Hope isn't loud. It doesn't always announce itself with dramatic emotions. Sometimes hope is simply the quiet decision to try again tomorrow. Sometimes it's choosing gratitude even while answers remain incomplete. Sometimes it's believing that your current chapter doesn't define your entire story. Have you ever noticed how often the greatest encouragement arrives through ordinary people? A friend calls at the perfect moment. A stranger offers unexpected kindness. A passage you've read many times suddenly speaks to your current situation in a completely new way. These moments remind us that encouragement often appears through simple acts of compassion rather than extraordinary events. Life also has a way of reminding us that comparison steals joy. You may look at someone else's success and wonder why your own journey seems slower. Yet you rarely see the entire picture. Every person carries private struggles, unanswered questions, and hidden sacrifices. Comparing your behind-the-scenes moments to someone else's highlight reel will always leave you feeling discouraged. Instead, consider measuring progress differently. Ask yourself whether you've become more patient than you were last year. More forgiving. More resilient. More grateful. Those changes may not attract headlines, but they represent genuine growth that no circumstance can take away. There are people who almost gave up one step before their breakthrough, not because they lacked ability, but because they couldn't yet see what was developing beyond the horizon. That's why perseverance matters so much. It allows tomorrow's possibilities to become today's reality. This doesn't mean every dream unfolds exactly as we expect. Sometimes life surprises us with opportunities we never planned. Sometimes the destination changes while the purpose remains. What once felt like a disappointment eventually becomes the reason we're able to help someone else walking through a similar season. Your experiences can become a source of encouragement for others. The challenges you've overcome give you compassion that cannot be taught in a classroom. Your patience gives hope to those who feel rushed. Your resilience reminds others that difficult seasons do not last forever. Take a moment to think about the people who inspired you most. Chances are it wasn't because their lives were perfect. It was because they continued moving forward with integrity even when life became difficult. Their example gave others permission to keep believing that brighter days were still possible. That same opportunity exists for you. You never know who is quietly watching your example. Someone may find courage simply because they saw you refuse to give up. Someone may discover hope because you chose kindness during a difficult season. Influence often grows through ordinary faithfulness rather than extraordinary attention. And perhaps that's the greatest reminder of all. Your value is not determined by how quickly life unfolds. Your value isn't measured by titles, applause, or temporary achievements. Your worth remains constant, even while your circumstances continue to change. The journey may be longer than you expected, but that doesn't mean it's leading anywhere less meaningful. So if you've been carrying disappointment, don't let it become your permanent identity. Let it become a chapter, not the conclusion. Keep learning. Keep growing. Keep choosing hope, even when the path ahead isn't completely visible. Because in the next part, we'll explore how moments that once seemed insignificant can become turning points, and why the quiet choices you make today may open doors tomorrow that you never imagined possible. The most remarkable turning points in life rarely announce themselves with flashing lights or dramatic music. More often, they arrive disguised as ordinary days. A conversation you almost didn't have. A decision you nearly postponed. A moment of courage that seemed insignificant at the time. Looking back, you realize that everything began to change not because one extraordinary event happened, but because you responded differently than you would have before. Imagine waking up tomorrow with the same circumstances you have today but with a completely renewed perspective. The challenges might still exist. The responsibilities would still be waiting. Yet something inside you would be different. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin asking, "How can I grow through this?" That single shift has the power to transform not only your outlook but also the decisions you make every single day. Many people spend years waiting for confidence before taking the next step. But confidence often follows action rather than preceding it. Think of every skilled musician, athlete, teacher, or leader. None of them began with certainty. They began by showing up consistently, learning from mistakes, and refusing to let temporary setbacks define their future. Their confidence grew because they kept moving forward even when the outcome wasn't guaranteed. Perhaps that's where someone listening today finds themselves. You've been waiting for everything to feel perfect before you begin. You've been waiting for fear to disappear before making an important decision. Yet what if courage isn't the absence of fear? What if courage is choosing hope despite uncertainty? There is a quiet strength in those who continue planting seeds they may not immediately see grow. Every encouraging word you speak. Every act of kindness you extend. Every honest decision you make. Every moment you choose integrity over convenience. These choices may seem small, but they accumulate over time, shaping both your character and your future. Life has a remarkable way of multiplying faithful habits. One good decision often leads to another. One positive relationship opens the door to another opportunity. One lesson learned during hardship prepares you for responsibilities you couldn't have handled before. The pieces rarely make sense while they're unfolding. Only later do they fit together into a picture far more meaningful than you expected. Have you ever noticed how some of the strongest people you know are also the most compassionate? That's rarely an accident. Compassion often grows from experience. People who have walked through difficult seasons understand what encouragement feels like because they once needed it themselves. Their strength isn't built on perfection. It's built on perseverance. That means your current challenges don't have to become wasted experiences. They can become sources of wisdom that help someone else tomorrow. The patience you're developing today may become the encouragement another person desperately needs next year. Your willingness to keep believing during uncertain moments may inspire someone who has almost given up. Sometimes we assume purpose is found only in extraordinary accomplishments. But purpose often appears in everyday faithfulness. It appears in showing kindness when no one expects it. In offering forgiveness when resentment would feel easier. In remaining honest when shortcuts seem tempting. In choosing gratitude instead of constant comparison. These choices don't always produce immediate results, but they shape the kind of person you're becoming. And ultimately, who you become influences every opportunity that comes into your life. There are moments when we wish we could see the entire future before taking the first step. Yet if everything were revealed at once, there would be little room for growth, trust, or discovery. Part of life's beauty is that each season teaches something the previous season could not. Maybe this season has taught you patience. Maybe it has taught you resilience. Maybe it has reminded you not to define yourself by temporary setbacks. Maybe it has shown you that genuine peace isn't found in controlling every circumstance but in responding wisely to whatever comes. Whatever lesson you're learning today, don't underestimate its value. Some of the most important chapters of life begin quietly. They don't feel extraordinary while they're happening. They simply ask you to remain faithful, hopeful, and willing to continue moving forward. And here's something worth remembering: whenever discouragement begins to whisper that nothing is changing, growth often becomes visible only after it has already taken place inside you. The person who once reacted with fear now responds with wisdom. The person who once doubted every step now walks with quiet confidence. The person who once focused only on closed doors begins noticing unexpected opportunities. That's real transformation. Not because every problem disappeared. Not because every question was answered. But because your perspective became stronger than your circumstances. As we come to the end of this reflection, pause for a moment and think about where you are today. Think about how far you've already come, even if you haven't yet reached your destination. Think about the lessons you've learned, the strength you've gained, and the hope that continues to rise every time you choose not to quit. Your story is still being written. Today's challenges are not the final chapter. Today's waiting is not the end of your journey. The next page of your life has not been revealed yet, and that's what makes it full of possibility. So carry this thought with you: every day presents another opportunity to choose hope over fear, gratitude over comparison, wisdom over impulse, and perseverance over surrender. Those choices, repeated consistently, have the power to shape a future that reflects not only where you've been, but who you've become. If this reflection encouraged you today, consider sharing it with someone who might need a reminder that difficult seasons don't last forever, but the strength developed within them often does. And if you'd like more messages like this, don't forget to subscribe and join us again. Until next time, keep moving forward with faith, hope, and courage, one step, one choice, and one day at a time. There is one final thought that has the power to change the way you see this entire journey. Imagine reading a book where every chapter was filled only with victories. No setbacks. No unanswered questions. No moments of uncertainty. At first, it might sound inspiring. But before long, it would become predictable. The moments that move us most are the ones where hope refuses to disappear in the middle of difficulty. Those are the stories people remember. Those are the stories that inspire generations. Perhaps that's why your own journey matters more than you realize. Someone may one day look at your life and discover courage because you refuse to give up. Someone may find peace because you chose forgiveness instead of bitterness. Someone may believe tomorrow can be better because they watched you continue moving forward even when the road became difficult. Never underestimate the influence of a life lived with quiet faithfulness. There is something extraordinary about ordinary obedience to what is good, honest, and loving. Every day presents dozens of opportunities to become the person you hope to be. Not through dramatic gestures, but through consistent choices. The choice to encourage instead of criticize. The choice to remain patient instead of reacting in anger. The choice to speak truth with kindness. The choice to keep learning instead of believing you've reached your limit. These decisions may never become headlines, but they shape the legacy you leave behind. Many people spend years chasing moments that will impress others, while overlooking the moments that truly transform them. Transformation doesn't usually happen during applause. It happens during ordinary mornings when you decide to try again after yesterday didn't go as planned. Think about that for a moment. How many victories in your life began with a simple decision not to quit? How many opportunities appeared because you stayed faithful long enough to recognize them? How many friendships grew because someone chose kindness during an ordinary conversation? Life often changes one decision at a time. The future isn't built only through major milestones. It's built through daily habits. Daily gratitude. Daily wisdom. Daily perseverance. Daily hope. Every sunrise offers another opportunity to become just a little stronger than you were yesterday. And here's something that deserves your attention. Sometimes we become so focused on reaching the destination that we fail to appreciate the person we're becoming along the journey. Yet character is one of life's greatest treasures. Achievements may open doors, but character determines what happens after those doors open. Integrity builds trust. Humility keeps us teachable. Compassion strengthens relationships. Patience protects us from impulsive decisions. Hope keeps us moving when certainty isn't available. These qualities cannot always be measured, yet they often become the foundation for everything lasting and meaningful. Take a moment right now and reflect on your own story. Think about the challenges that once seemed impossible. Think about the fears you eventually overcame. Think about the seasons when you believed nothing was changing, only to realize later that you had grown in ways you never expected. That growth matters. It proves that difficult chapters don't last forever. More importantly, it reminds us that every season can produce wisdom if we're willing to learn from it. As this message comes to a close, remember one simple truth. Your future is not determined only by what has happened to you. It is shaped by the choices you make from this moment forward. You can choose gratitude. You can choose perseverance. You can choose kindness. You can choose hope. And every one of those choices becomes another step toward the person you're becoming. So walk into the coming days with confidence, not because every answer has already arrived, but because you've learned that hope can exist even while questions remain. Carry peace into your conversations. Carry compassion into your relationships. Carry integrity into your work. Carry gratitude into every ordinary moment. Because ordinary moments, lived with extraordinary purpose, often become the memories that define an entire lifetime. Thank you for spending this time reflecting with me. If this message encouraged your heart, share it with someone who could use a reminder that hope is never wasted. Subscribe if you'd like to continue these reflections together, and join us again for the next message. Until then, may you keep moving forward with wisdom, courage, compassion, and unwavering hope, one day, one decision, and one faithful step at a time.